President Trump said yesterday he had a phone call with Venezuela's leader, Nicolás Maduro. Joining us to discuss is Emel Akan, senior White House correspondent for the Epoch Times. So, Emel, good afternoon to you. So in addition to the phone call, President Trump said on Truth Social that the airspace around Venezuela should be considered closed. Maybe we can just start with that. Why do you think Trump is doing this?
Don, good to see you. Yes, President Trump is doing this because he wants to put pressure on Maduro. He wants the easy way. He said it clearly a few days ago that he chooses the easy way, which is basically he doesn't say it directly, but he wants Maduro to resign and leave the country peacefully, because this will decrease the threat coming from Venezuela. According to Trump, Venezuela poses one of the largest national security threats, and because of the drug trafficking and its huge role in drug trafficking. It's like a corridor, it's like a hub, logistics hub. And so he wants to end this business, drug trafficking business. He wants to end narco-traffic terrorist organizations. And he sees Maduro as a threat, as the head of these narco-terrorists. And he wants his regime to collapse, but he doesn't say it directly. But according to some reports, we've heard that he asked Maduro to resign. And that's why he is putting pressure, and it's very visible.
So that's a very important point you just raised. I'd like to follow up on that because you wrote an article for the Epoch Times about U.S. actions on Venezuela. You said the military buildup in the region and talks of possible U.S. land strikes in Venezuela have raised questions about whether Trump is seeking regime change. And you just mentioned that. Can you go a bit deeper into what Trump's goals here are?
Yes, if you ask the president himself or if you ask his administration, they will never say that they want Maduro regime to collapse. But what they are really focusing on, and that's the truth that they have been telling for months, is that they want to stop the threat coming from Venezuela. And they are focusing on that. But many people here would explain, and Washington experts will tell you that if Trump's strikes happen, the land actions happen in Venezuela, the regime will eventually collapse. So they don't see any relationship between like having drug cartel business collapsing, but Maduro regime staying. So they do see that eventually there will be chains of events that will lead to his collapse. But what Trump is trying to say, and he said it indirectly, we didn't say it directly, that I want the easy way. And we believe that the easy way is basically asking him to resign, and he's not doing. So far, he hasn't shown any interest in doing it, but we're going to be seeing something in the next 48 hours because, as we heard at the White House today, the president will be meeting with his national security advisors. He will be meeting with the defense secretary as well as Marco Rubio, his secretary of state, and they will speak about the next steps with respect to Venezuela.
Are there any scenarios, or what would they be, that could trigger U.S. land strikes inside Venezuela?
At the moment, President made it very clear that it could start very soon. He said land actions in land and against these drug trafficking, drug cartels will be very soon. And he said it last week. So he is waiting for Maduro to resign. I think that's his tactic at the moment. And he wants to see the regime to collapse, or internally by military itself to put an end to the regime. So he wants either the military or Maduro to take action here. And that's why you see a lot of news about whether Trump will do something, whether U.S. is going to attack, or whether it's going to be imminent. These are all putting pressure on the regime itself. And now we know that Venezuela doesn't have a significant military power to respond to the U.S. Action. They also have economic collapse. This is a country that has the largest proven oil reserves in the world. But it cannot produce anything because of the regime's mismanagement over the years. And I would also add that this is one of the best examples of a socialist regime, how socialist regime can actually put its population in danger, because at the moment people are not making any money. They are living in poverty. There's a huge humanitarian crisis, and it hasn't been very useful for the population itself. And I just heard that with the devaluation just recently that happened in the country had led to many people suffer, because now people are making $1 a month salary, $1 a month. And so it is going to collapse because this population does not want the regime. That's what we are hearing from insiders in Venezuela.
Okay, Emel, let me just ask you one last question here. How does China and Russia fit into the picture? Are they pieces of the puzzle as well or not?
They used to be, because Russia and China have significant interests in Venezuela, and they want the regime to stay. But at the moment, they don't have enough power to respond to American action. When it comes to China, they don't have significant military presence. They have huge economic interest. So China would unlikely to respond to or help Maduro. And in Russia at the moment, as we know, is in the midst of negotiating a peace deal and is in touch with the United States, so they don't want to derail this. And it's also has a lot of focus on Ukraine at the moment. So we do not expect Russia to be involved in this as well. And I also hear that Cuba might have difficulty as well. Cuba at the moment is also facing a lot of blackouts. They have issues with energy, as well as in Venezuela. You see a lot of people suffering because of blackouts. They don't have electricity for hours during the day. And if the regime collapses in Venezuela, if something happens soon, I think it will also have an impact on Cuba. That's what we're hearing as well.
Okay, Emel, great information today. Thank you very much for sharing.
Thank you. Good to see you, Don.